Hey, what's going on, Cardfighters? Archangel 7 with Genesis Gaming, and this is the beginning and the end. I'm talking about the all-new Genesis Revelation support from G-BT08. This is going to be the very first deck profile. Make sure you stick around and check it out. Thanks for tuning in to this all-new deck profile. I'm very excited to bring you this one. Genesis is my absolute favorite clan in the entire game, so I've been waiting for the support for a long time now. Ever since the initial reveal of cards, I've been playtesting it, and I love the new support. It's really good. The keywords also really cool too, and I managed to pull pretty much every card that I need for this deck during the sneak preview that was held on Saturday. So today's Monday, 4 days away from the release of G-BT08. So this deck profile is very early, and it's probably going to be the first English deck profile for the new Genesis support that has came out. So I'm very happy about that as well. But new support's actually really good. I do think it is enough to have Genesis make some noise in the meta. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the grade 0. So my starter is Fenrir creator Van. Van is the new starter from G-BT08. I like him as a starter. He has good value for the entirety of the game because his first skill is when he's rested due to the effects of one of your cards. So when it's basically saying when he's rested due to the revelation ability, give a unit 2000 power, which is nice because if you're going to be soul charging early on due to your rear guards with the revelation ability, you don't really want to rest those rear guards. It's better for those rear guards to get attacks off to kind of add more pressure and push your opponent for damage. So having him on the field makes him a really good revelation target because you can just rest him and then pump up that rear guard, or you can give the power to your Vanguard. So it's really nice. And then his second skill is GB1. Put him into your soul. When your drive check reveals a normal unit, you can pay the cost and then draw a card. So he's a free +1 as well. So I love his utility because at the start of the game, he's a 5k boost. He's also a revelation target that's going to power up a rearguard or Vanguard. And then mid to late game, when you are GB, he's a +1. So I like Van a lot. Really good starter, in my opinion. And playtesting him, he's been fantastic too. So no arguments with him at all. Next is a copy of Fetter of Leather Lading, the old starter from G-BT04. His skill is put him into Soul once per turn. When a card is put into your drop zone from Soul, you can call that unit to rear, as long as it's not himself. So this helps for field consistency, being able to just make sure that you have a good board, or you can even extend attacks and different things like that with him. So he's good utility as well. I like Van as the starter in this deck versus Lading just because it's nice. It's better to have Lading within the deck. So yeah, but having both of them is actually really good. And then, you know, if you wanted at some point, you could just kind of swap them in and out as starters. So maybe one match you have him as starter, another's him, but I'd rather Van the starter than Lading. But they're both really good, and I think Lading's really essential to the deck. So next is for crit triggers. These three will be him once the set actually drops, but I did get this one from the pre-release. But this is the Fenrir crit. So just your basic crit. You know, when your Vanguard attacks, when your Fenrir Vanguard attacks, put him in soul, gain 5k, draw a card. He's really tight though, because if he's in the soul and you call him out due to Lading or due to Fenrir skill and then put him back in, he becomes a +1. So that's pretty nice, but he's not really the ideal call target because there's so many other good things you can call, but that is an option that you have to be able to do that. Next is one of our MVP triggers, and that's Dreaming Dragon. Definitely a 4 in my opinion. You don't want to miss getting his skill off because he's what's gonna help you win. Like, honestly, he's gonna help you win. But his skill is at the end of your turn, well, it's GB restricted obviously, but at the end of your turn, shuffle, put the sheet on top of your deck, shuffle your drop zone into your deck, and then if you shuffle 10 or more cards, draw a card. So really good. For one, the draw is just absolutely amazing, but being able to reset your deck due to the amount of soul charging and soul blasting that you do in Genesis, being able to completely reset your decks gives them a ton of longevity, and no one can outgrind Genesis. So card's a must. Next is 4 of the new stand trigger, Goddess of Sound Sleep Taro. And this stand trigger is also extremely amazing. So I had to run 4 off because, for one, it's Revelation, which Revelation is when this unit is placed on specified circle. So it's going to specify whether it's a rear circle ability or Vanguard circle ability. For this one, it's rear. So when this unit's placed on a rear circle, look at the top card of your deck. You may put that card into your soul. If you do, rest a unit. So that's what the Revelation skill is. So it allows you to kind of do a type of consistent soul charging, to where if you need a unit and you look on top and it is that unit, you wouldn't soul charge it. You draw into it. But if it's something you don't need, you could put it into the soul and kind of move closer to your triggers or closer to units that you do need. So that's the Revelation skill, and that's where Bond comes in, because you could play this, soul charge something, rest Bond, and give something 2,000 power. But its second skill is where it really shines, and it's GB1. When this card is put into your drop zone from your soul, you may put it at the bottom of your deck and stand one of your units. So it's a stand trigger that doesn't have to be drove check in order to stand a unit, which is really nice because it guarantees your stand. So if you see 2 of these or more in your soul, or even just 1, you can kind of set up your offense to make sure that you can restand. So you have 2 of those in there. You can attack a full column, and then once your Vanguard attacks and soul blast, if you soul blast 2 of them, you can restand that column. So this is really good. It adds to the consistency of Genesis, which Genesis is extremely consistent, actually probably the most consistent engine in the entire game, but this is going to add to it for sure. And then last but not least is the 4 mandatory heal triggers, no questions asked. And yep, so that is the trigger lineup: 4 crit, 8 stand, 4 heal. I find the stands a lot more helpful than the crits, but that's just me. So those are the grade 0s. Let's go to the grade 3. I run 4 copies of our main Vanguard, which is going to be Mythic Beast Fenrir. Actually, yeah, I would have to say he's probably my favorite unit in the game. I love Fenrir. Really nice card. Art's really good, and I find him really good. So his skills, we'll go over the stride skill first. On stride, soul charge 3. That's free. You don't have to pay anything to do that, which is why this deck is so consistent, because the deck is based around soul charging and soul blasting, and he auto fills your the deck's mechanic, which is just absolutely insane. So on stride, soul charge 3. Then when a unit is blasted, put in a drop zone from soul, you can counterblast 1 and call that unit once per turn. But he has that option, which makes it really field consistency really good, because practically anything that's in your soul is now able to be called to rear. So that is absolutely amazing. And then his GB2 skill is actually a little pretty good too. It is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may soul blast 3, and to end the battle, he gets a crit, and your opponent can't guard with grade 1 or greater from hand. So not that great in this this meta now with G guards, but it is still a skill, and it's still a pretty decent skill. So I mean, can't really complain too much about it. But his stride skill is just absolutely amazing, and he's Fenrir, so we have the name that we need to do things. So and then the last grade 3 is 3 angelic wise men. I'm sure by now there are a lot of people who know about the Angelic Wiseman. He is absolutely insane in this deck. His ability is Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if you have a Genesis Vanguard, you may pay the cost, which the cost is a Soul Blast 3. If you do, this unit gets 4,000 power until the end of that battle. That's actually quite good. And the reason it's good is because there's a lot of ways to pump him up for power. But let's just say base, he's 10k. And when you swing in, he's going to be 14. But then you can Soul Blast, like out of the Soul Blast 3, you can Soul Blast the stand trigger and instantly re-stand him. And he's going to get another attack in, which would be another 14. And if you had another stand trigger, and you could blast it out and re-stand him again. So he can, as long as you have these stand triggers in your soul, he can re-stand himself a lot. And if you've pumped him up with some of the other cards, you know, he can easily be swinging 20 plus by himself. So he's a really good backup Vanguard. Svava, the other grade 3 that came out in G-BT08, is actually a pretty good unit too. You could run her instead of him, which would be fine. She does have the Revelation ability, which is nice. But Angelic Wiseman is a really good backup Vanguard. He's absolutely insane. But do take note that it says he gets 4,000 to the end of that battle. Okay, so after that attack, that 4,000 leaves. It doesn't stack. It doesn't keep going to where he's just getting powerful. He gets that 4 for that battle, and after that battle, he's back to 10. So just remember that. But that is the grade 3s. Let's check out the grade 2. All right, so the grade 2 is where it's at right here. I love the grade 2s that we now have access to. So first is Boulderfelder Gil, and this is one of my favorite guys. This guy is absolutely amazing. He's insane. For one, he has the Revelation ability on Rear Circle. Then he has Counterblast 1. When this unit is placed on rear, if you have a Vanguard with Fenrir in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do, until the end of turn, this unit gets 4,000 power, and once per turn, Soul Blast 3. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. This guy is absolutely amazing. Because for one, he doesn't even have to attack Vanguard. So that's number 1. 2, he doesn't have to be boosted. 3, he comes out, he does Revelation, so he checks the top card, say it's a trigger. You leave the trigger there. You give him 4k. You can instantly make him, you know, over 10k guard with the trigger by himself. Or if there's a booster, I mean, he's just absolutely crazy. He's just absolutely good. And then the Soul Blast 3 helps. Like anytime you can Soul Blast during combat, the more you can Soul Blast during combat, the better this deck is going to do. So 4 of him is a must. You always want to Soul Blast during combat. That way you're able to Soul Blast out your stand triggers. You're able to call units out for Revelation and get another check of the top card and things like that. So yeah, I mean, Gil is super good. Super disgusting card. Next is probably MVP, and that is Battle Maiden Kotonaha. She's her. So her skill is when a card is put into the soul during your turn, which sucks. It'd be awesome if it was doing like any turn, but this card it gets 1,000 until the end of turn. 1,000 power until the end of turn. Then if a card was put into your soul due to the effect of Revelation ability, it gets 1,000. So anytime you use a Revelation ability, it gets 2,000. Anytime you just soul charge, it gets 1,000. So it's really nice. Like if you have Fenrir out and her out, and then you stride Fenrir skill, you're gonna soul charge 3, giving her an instant +3, making her 12k from the start of your turn, which is nice because she only gets stronger from there. And she has the revelation ability herself. So if you soul charge off of her skill, she's going to give herself +2. Then also, it's not GB restricted, which is even better because it gives some early value to the deck. So Kotana has one of the MVPs as well. So she's really good. I like her better than Jormungand. Jormungand doesn't get as powerful as she can get. Well, he kind of could, but I like her a lot better. Just because she's more consistent in my opinion. Because Jormungand is based off of Soul Blasting, which if you're not using Vanguard, who's a guaranteed Soul Blast 6, you're probably only going to get 3,000, making him 12k, and she can get bigger than that. And next is actually a promo that I got from the sneak preview, and that's Battle Maiden Medusa. This card is pretty tight. I like this card. For one, the art's pretty nice on there. But this card is Soul Blast 3. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand at random, bind them face down, and at the end of that turn, your opponent puts those cards bound with this effect into their hand. So we got some Nubatama ability in here, which is just kind of funny and insane. The nice thing about it isn't the bind. It's just like I said, whenever if you're able to Soul Blast during combat, that's what you want. So I put her in there because being able to Soul Blast in the middle of combat is ideal. Because if I have just her, and we'll just say this as a column, just an example, and then the other column is this, just empty. If I were to hit with this and then Soul Blast 3, I could potentially get a Gil out, call him, and now I have a nice unit on the field. I get another revelation and more power and even a draw. So just for me, I really just like being able to call things out of the soul during combat. So that's the main reason for this. But to be able to bind 2 cards out of someone's hands, especially, you know, just kind of in the middle of combat, it's kind of nice. Like it's really good because you can even call her from the soul. And like after a couple attacks, like you attack 1, attack 2, attack Vanguard, call her out the soul, give her power and things like that, and then swing. So it's really nice to be able to do that because it just yeah, it gets rid of your opponent's hand. I mean, what can you say? So she's a pretty nice card. She is a promo, so she's not in the G-BT08 set. Well, she might be like a topper or something. I don't know. I really don't know. We just got them as got her during the sneak preview. So I had got like 5 of her, but only 3 in here. So I don't run Gleipnir, as you see. I've tested this deck 100 times, probably 103 times, and I've never ever used Gleipnir, ever. Actually, you know, I lied. I used Gleipnir a maximum of 1 time before, and for some reason Gleipnir is just not needed at all. So yeah, don't. I took Gleipnir out for this one. A lot better. But next I will be going on to the grade 1. So to start us off, there will be 4 mandatory perfect guards, preferably the unflipping perfect guards, because this deck Soul Blast. So this deck counter blasts a lot. That's all. It does Soul Blast a lot too, and Soul Charge a lot, but it counter blasts a lot. So yeah, gotta be able to unflip it. Then next is Skull, our stride fighter. He's gonna search out Fenrir if we need him to, and he's going to pay for our stride cost. So yeah, gotta have 4 of them because I only run 7 grade 3s, so I need 4 of that little guy to make sure I'm able to stride. And then the grade 1 MVP, best card in the deck, is Shackle Fetter Galgia. Now Galgia is amazing. For one, it has revelation ability on rear guard, so sweet, but it has a soul skill, and this soul skill is absolutely insane. You put him on the bottom of your deck, choose one of your rear guards, stand it, and it gets 3,000 power into the end of turn. Then, if you have a Vanguard with Fenrir in its card name, Soul Charge 2, choose one of your units and it gets 3,000 power to the end of turn. So Gelgia is giving a total of 6,000 power to the field, wherever or however you want to distribute it. And he's also replenishing your soul. Like, he's absolutely insane, especially when comboed with our other MVP. Because, for one, so you put him in there, she gets +3. Then he soul charges 2. She gets +2, making that +5. Then you give her the other 3. She's got a total of +8 on her. So she's 17k. So imagine 2 of these in the soul. You're giving her 16 +9. She's 25 on her own. That's why she's an MVP. Because of this guy. He gets her super big. But not only her. Any one of our awesome grade 2s, like Gil, for example, if you use his skill, so he's +4k. If you give him the 3k, he's 16 on his own. Because he's 4 and 3. That's 7. 7 and 9 is 16 on his own. So he can swing for Vanguard on his own. That's just super good. So this guy, he's actually the real MVP of the game. Like, he's the one who's going to cause you to win. And then that additional soul charging 2 is really good too, because it gives you more chances to get your stand triggers in there and get whatever in the soul that you want to get in there. So Gelgia is definitely a 4 of, and he's definitely the MVP of the deck. And last but definitely not least is 2 copies of Mythic Beast Haiti. You could run Claimer Harry in this slot. I don't run Claimer Harry because I don't care for him at all, to be honest. I think Haiti's a lot better. Just going for the numbers is a lot better. It's a lot stronger because, okay, combat step, you can have a column like this. So you do some soul charge and you get her big. Let's say we did the 2 Gelgias and she's 16 on her own. Well, she's 16 and 9, 25 on her own, +7, and so 25 and 7 we swing in, that is 32. And then say you just happen to swing in Vanguard, you soul blast 6, and you also soul blast 2 stand triggers, right? So these 2 are going to stand. So he's going to get the 6 now. So they were 32 +6. Now they are 38. Then you also blasted out a Gil, and you called him, you rev, you use his skill, whatever. So then when he attacks, he's going to soul blast 3, giving him an additional 3, pushing this column into the 40s. So that is super high numbers right there, just with this little guy. So he's definitely good to have in the deck. I like him over any other great ones, especially the new great one that we got in G-BT08. I like him a lot better. So numbers, I feel, are important, and he helps fulfill that quota. So gotta have the Haiti in there. If I could run more, I would, but no space. So just have to do the 2. But on to the grade 4. First is Beast Slayer Military Deity Tier. I run a 1 of. He's probably the best starter, the best first stride unit, because he's going to set up our engine and he's going to make us successful. Even though we're not playing Great Nature, he's going to make the deck successful because he sets up the engine in such a way to where once you start doing all your major soul blasting, you're not really going to be affected by it. So his skill is, once per turn, soul blast 3. Look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or bottom. Then whenever this unit's drive check reveals a grade 1 or greater, you may soul charge 3. May is a keyword in there. You don't have to, but you may do it. And if you do and you have her on the field, it's really good because she's going to get 3 each time you do it. So she can get a maximum total of 9k, but I wouldn't recommend soul charging 9. 6 is a good number to go to. Soul charging 9 would be a little excessive, but if you need to do it, just go ahead. But having these two together is really good. So yeah, nice first stride. You're also able to, if she's in the soul and you do your initial Soul Blast 3, you can use Fenrir skill or Lading skill and call her out, so that way she does get his benefits. So that makes that pretty consistent as well. But you do not need to. If you're running 2 of, that's probably a little excessive. There shouldn't be any reason you need him after the first time you use him. Your engine should be set and ready to go. So if you're striding into him a second time, something is definitely wrong. You're probably losing. You're probably gonna lose or something like that, because there's just no reason to go into him a second time. There's a lot better options to go with than him. And like I said, your engine should be set. You shouldn't be having the need for this type of soul charging after the first time. But the next candidate that is a potential first strider, but he's good all around, is Great Angel Doombrace. Now, Great Angel Doombrace, I have him as a 4 of. His ability is once per turn, Soul Blast 3, choose up to 2 rear guards and they get 5,000 power to the end of turn. Then if you have 2 or less cards in your soul, Soul Charge 3. So the last part, it works if you have not Soul Charged at all in the beginning of the match. You stride into him first, and then you get Fenrir skill to Soul Charge 3. That's the only way you're going to get that last part with the Soul Charge 3. Other than that, you're not going to see that ability. But the 5k to 2 rear guards is great because he's turning your 16k columns into 21s, which is fantastic. And so that just adds a lot of pressure to this stride. So it's 4 of, because for one, he's really good. He's good all around. First stride, second stride, third. You can stride him 4 times and you'll probably kill someone, to be honest. But Genesis doesn't have anything else worth running above him to this number. And I know some people will say, why not run Dion? Dion is a terrible, I'm talking terrible card. This card is absolutely horrible. And I've seen older deck profiles or even people I play with who are like, I have a 1 of Dion. This card has no value in the least bit, because the whole Genesis mechanic is about soul charging and soul blasting. If you're not doing both of those, then you're not playing Genesis and you're not going to win. This card only soul blasts on hit. So people say, oh, well, this card's good because it's pressure and it'll draw out the PG. Well, sure, it draws out the PG, but guess what? You didn't get to soul blast. So you missed out on the restand. You missed out on the unit that you could have called. You missed out on the cards you could have drawn with this piece of crap. You miss out on everything. You miss out on the power bonuses that you can get from doing what the deck is supposed to do, which is Soul Blast. This card says, when this attack hits a Vanguard, Soul Blast 3, look at the top 3, put 1 in your hand, put the rest in Soul. So basically, this card's saying, hey, I might draw you a card. I might do what the deck is supposed to do. And there's no reason for that. There's no reason to run a card that might draw you a card when I already have tons of cards that are going to guarantee draw me a card. How many cards we got that draw? It's just too many. Too many cards draw. This is going to draw a card. You have him that's going to draw you a card. This can draw you a card. Bond can draw you a card. Like, I mean, Genesis can practically draw whenever it wants to draw a card. So this has no value. It's not going to do anything for me that is going to make it worth playing. So if you're running this, please take it out. This card has no value, okay? It's terrible. But enough of that rant. Next is for Vanguard, MVP right here. Vanguard has never been a finisher. Anyone who is decent at playing Genesis, anyone who is a little bit knowledgeable at Genesis knows that Vanguard is not a finisher. But now He kind of is, though. He's a lot better now with the new support. His skill is Soul Blast 6. Persona Flip him. Your opponent guards. After they guard, which is an important thing to note, is they have to guard first. Then you check the top 4 of your deck, arrange them in any order on top or bottom, and then you proceed to do your drive checks. So stacking the deck is good. I personally still don't consider him a finisher because I'm not running a lot of crits. I only have 4 crits in the deck. So, but Vanguard is good at healing. For one, he always can heal because yeah, you're checking the top. You can always put the heals there. But he's still a good utility card. Grabbing the PGs if you need them, healing when you need to heal, pulling the stand triggers up when you need to. So it's all good. But I think his best quality is the fact that he's our only, besides Trashy Girl here, who we're not going to play, everyone, we're not going to play this card. But he is the only G unit that we have that actually Soul Blast in the middle of combat. And I told you how important that is because being able to Soul Blast in the middle of combat is what's going to set up the multi-attacks and add a lot more pressure and threat to the opponent. So he's the only one that can actually do that. And that's why he's a better finisher now, is because being able to Soul Blast the stand triggers to get guaranteed stands, being able to Soul Blast the gills and call them for a nice attack and draw is good. Being able to Soul Blast the 6 for power, like, so yeah, that's why he's good now, and that's why he's a better finisher, is because now the whole deck can benefit off of his attack. So yeah, really good there. Next is our other MVP, which I have one of right now. I'm so happy about it. And I will get the other 3. I'm going to have 4. I'll probably run 4. If not, I'll just run 3. 3 of them. I'll probably run 4 though, for sure. But the reason being is, for one, his first ability, which is, he doesn't Persona Flip, which is nice, but his GB2 skill says, well, he changes the revelation ability. So instead of it being placed in you checking the top card, soul charging it or not, and then resting a unit, he makes it to where when it's placed on rear, you check the top 2 cards, choose up to 1, put it in the soul, put the other on top, and you don't have to rest the unit. Okay, so that's really good. It helps you to be able to fix the deck a lot better. And you do not have to, the key part in this is that it says choose up to 1. So you do not have to soul charge anything that you check off the top 2. But if you do soul charge, you don't have to rest anything, which is nice. So that's really good for the deck, because the deck is, you know, trying to revelation as much as it can. But then his other skill is act. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 3. You may draw a card. If you do not, put up to 1 card from the top of your deck into your soul. Choose one of your rear guards, and and that unit and this unit gets 3,000 power. So that's pretty nice too, because if you check the top 2 cards, and the top 2 just happen, so you Gil, the top 2 just happen to be these 2. You're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to revelation this to get that in soul, and you know, you leave this on top. Then you could use its skill to either draw this card, or you can use it to get rid of this card entirely by putting it in the soul and then pumping up units. So it's a bit of a heavy cost being a counterblast, and then the soul blast isn't really the heavy cost, but the counterblast, just because we have him that soul blast, and then Fenrir also not soul blast, counterblast, Gil, and then Fenrir counterblast. So it's kind of heavy, but if you have the counterblast for it, he can draw you a ton of cards, which is really, really nice. You know, just the utility and setup that he has is absolutely amazing. And I've read in different forums, people like, I'm going to run 2 of him. There's honestly no reason to not run 4. Besides his cost, there's no reason to not run 4 of him. Right now, you can't see the other slots, so there's supposed to be 3 here. But there's really no reason to not run 4. He's just a good utility card, just to be able to manipulate your deck to this capacity, to draw the amount of cards that you're capable of drawing, to pump up, this unit a ton because of the Soul Blast 3, just being able to continuously do it. You can get him up to pretty high numbers if you want to. And then Kotanaha is going to get pretty high too, due to being able to Revelation or Soul Charge and other cards. So he just adds a lot of utility to the deck. You could even take out a Doom Brace, which I would probably do, and just have 4 of him, because there's really no reason to not run 4. None at all. So, yeah, really, really good G unit for Genesis there. And then for G guards, only 4, which is Dismal to protect, really, Kotanaha, or to be able to protect the Wiseman. So just 1 of. And then the last is 3, Goddess of 7 Colors, Iris, who is just absolutely amazing. Being able to take cards from your drop zone and put them into your soul just makes the deck even more consistent, which is what I love about Genesis. Is just their engine is just way too consistent, and it's just insane. So she's a really good card. She'll get 5k if you put 3 cards from your drop zone into your soul, and it's making your 11k Vanguard 31. So yeah, really good. So some dope things about Genesis is that you have your hand, your initial hand, which is going to be pretty big due to the amount of drawing. You have your soul, which serves as a secondary hand thanks to Fenrir and Lading, who is able to call from your soul. So it's kind of a secondary hand. Then you have the drop zone, which becomes practically a secondary source of, for your engine, thanks to Iris. And then, Genesis can practically get anything from anywhere except the damage zone. So that's absolutely insane. But that is the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I was very happy to do this. So please, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you comment, tell me what you think about it, and post your build down below so I can take a look at that and see what else other people have come up with. But other than that, guys, man, I hope you guys have a good time with the new set, and I'll catch you later. Peace.